Could I just ask you as well about Erik ten Hag and the news from yesterday? You've obviously been in the same city as him for just over 2 years. You've clearly, in the league, dominated Manchester United, but possibly his greatest day was against you. What was your thoughts when you found out what happened?
No, always I feel sorry for my managers, lose his position. So I'm so sorry for him. I have a good, I think, incredible relation. I think he represents Man United in the highest level in terms of behaviors and things, of course. So our job, the manager, is one of the few jobs in all the jobs in the world that the people is expecting to be sacked. The people is expecting you don't have job. So I don't see architects or doctors or teachers or anything. The people desire get out. It only is us. So it's our job. We have to accept it. I wish him all the best, he and his family, and of course he's going to come back stronger. And he knows, I know, everybody knows that our job depends on the results, and the results are not good enough. So always we are in the birds that stay or be sacked. So. And I'm saying that I'm, even myself, I'm not an exception. So if the results were not good, there is anything can sustain it.
How do you cope with that, Pep? Like, your whole life is based on those results. I mean, we think back to the summer, don't we? Ten Hag, all the talk was if he didn't win the FA Cup final, he'd be sacked. He did, got a new contract, and then a game against West Ham, lots of missed chances, a VAR decision, and ultimately it cost him his job.
Yeah. Well, if you decide to be manager or you understand that, the better don't do it. Decide to do another job. So our job, unfortunately, is simple as that. So you have to get results. If you are because you are handsome, or because you are in good speech, or you are good relation with the hierarchies, or forget about it. I have incredible relation with my hierarchy, but if you don't get result, I didn't get result, I would not be here. It is a business. So, and when you become a manager, you have to know it. So you will start from zero, but at a certain moment, you have to take results. Otherwise, nobody can keep it safe.
It helps that you're handsome too, though, doesn't it?
Sorry?
It helps that you're handsome too.
I was.
Yeah, you can, of course. He's a Dutch manager, so that makes it even harder for me, for us, as Dutch people. Always your first thoughts are with the person. We are all in this job, so we know that it can happen. But if it happens, especially because I know him a little bit and I know how much work he puts into it. And then to get this news for him is, of course, a pity. And but we also know, especially us coming from Holland, how well he did at Ajax and that he won 2 trophies over here. So we will see him, I think, in the near future somewhere at a big club again. But at this moment, it's for him and his family. It's, of course, tragedy is maybe a bit too much to say, but it's a big disappointment.
Nah, not really shocked, I guess. Disappointing as it was, almost inevitable with the scrutiny he'd had. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of football these days.
Can you give us a little bit of an insight into the scrutiny that a Premier League manager faces on a day-to-day basis? And I imagine, obviously, a club like United, it intensifies more and more, but obviously you're at Spurs. But just give your opinion on that.
Look, I've said in the past that it's becoming more and more difficult, I guess, to do the role in kind of any sort of processed way. Like I said, it's just the nature of what we do these days. That it seems like, if you look at Erik, he was there for 2 and a bit years. In those 2 years, he won a trophy in each year. I think they finished 3rd the first year. I don't know if he was here with that record, would he have lost his job? I don't know. Would he be under the same scrutiny? I don't know. Because everyone tells me all I have to do is win a trophy. But I've got a feeling it'd be the same, because I think, people want to, I think just the nature of the world today, you've got to, as a manager, you've got to hit a sweet spot where you have success, you play football everyone likes, you get every signing right, and in that moment you seem to get some sort of validation. Anything other than that, it seems to be, for some clubs, they win trophies, but they want football. Others want football, but then changes they want trophies. So it is a difficult task, and but I think what you've seen in the past, I'm sure Erik will bounce back from it because he's a good manager, he's a top manager, and you've seen it with other managers, and I'm sure his career will continue to go on strongly.
You raised a good point. There's a lot of variables, involved in a job as a manager or a head coach, as they're called these days. Do you think that sometimes there is too much onus on head coaches and managers in terms of all those things that you were talking about?
Well, I mean, no, I don't think it's too much. It's just that we're obviously the public face of it, and you have to, when you are, you have to take that responsibility. It's just like I said. It's just, I think you need to kind of have a clear idea, I guess, if you are in this position, as we are as managers, of what we're trying to achieve, because we're the ones who inevitably have to answer these questions. So about progress and where we're at and what our aims and ambitions are. So I guess it's easier when that's aligned, with the overall objective of the club. But if that keeps shifting, then it becomes really difficult to kind of figure out. What the outcomes are supposed to be. What we do know is that any process that you want an outcome of continued sort of opportunity for success, because that's the only thing you can kind of try and achieve. You can't guarantee success. There's no such thing. It doesn't matter who you are. But what you try and achieve as a club, I think, is the opportunity for success on a regular basis. That process takes time.
Yeah, I think always sadness when a manager loses his job. I think you have empathy for anyone in that position because you know the strains, you know the challenges, and every club's different. Certainly, the job at the very highest level doesn't get any easier at any club. So, felt for Erik yesterday.
Yeah, I heard when we came back in off the training pitch yesterday. It's always, whatever level you work at as a manager, it's a demanding job, and the highs and lows are as extreme as it gets, really. So you always sort of applaud managers when they do well, and you always sort of feel for them when there's criticism, and obviously when they lose the job as well, and that's how I will feel about Erik and any manager really that loses their job. It's never nice to see, because when you do it yourself, you know how hard it can be and how emotional it can be. So obviously it's a very, very high profile job at a huge club, and maybe the scrutiny is even more, but the emotion of what he would have been feeling is the same as us all. So yeah, never nice to see, but at the same time wish him well, and I'm sure he will bounce back as and when he feels ready.
You talked about the size of the club. Whoever comes into that job, how much pressure do they face as a manager?
Well, I think like any job, you feel the pressure, because I think once you go to a club, you take on the responsibility of what it means to the people, and so whether it's whatever the size of the club, it still means the same when you take a job, because you have to try and become part of it as much as you can and own your responsibility. So yeah, the feeling will be no different, but that's obviously falls into the guys at Manchester United. What we are doing now is preparing for a game tomorrow, a cup game, chance to get to the quarter-final, and a game that we really want to bring a good performance to try and get the result and get through to the next round. So I'm sure the atmosphere will be really good tomorrow, and we've got to try and thrive in that moment, and that's what we've been talking about the last day or so, and we're looking forward to getting down there.